Good Thursday, everybody. First pitch here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. I am Matt Joseph, filling in for Andrew McKinnis. Got the spot starter for the show, and of course, joined by the A-team, Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, Tony Finn. You can find them all on wagertalk.com. I'm contractually obligated to start out with you, Marco. How was your Wednesday?
Wednesday, I only had one play. It was one of those days where I made the one play and it lost, and the three plays that I was considering and left on the table, well, you know how that goes. But it's a busy week for me. We did shameless plug. We did bet on it last night, and so it was a busy Wednesday. And the rest of today and tomorrow, I got Kentucky Derby shows lined up that I got to be doing. So quite the interesting week. And we got college football starting this week, too. It just seems weird to be talking Kentucky Derby and the first week of college football in the same weekend.
Of course, Marco. This is exactly how you planned it January 1st, to be talking Kentucky Derby in September.
Absolutely. So looking forward to it. Fun time, guys. If you are a sports fan, you can't ask for any more than we've got going right now. I mean, it's almost sports overload. We went from nothing to everything, and I'm enjoying it.
Dave, how about you? Of course, there was hockey last night and Major League Baseball as well.
I split a couple of baseball plays, lost on Scherzer, and won easily on the Diamondbacks Dodgers first 5 under. Busier night tonight. I've got a college football play. I've got an NHL play. I've got 2 Major League Baseball plays. One of those is a free play, which actually is going to get going very shortly. Well, you can let everybody know about the packages that are available, Matt, because we've got some great specials right now.
Yeah, certainly the all-access package. Marco, just tell everybody, look, why it's so good to get this all-access package and a deal that we don't see very often.
No, it's the lowest price we've offered for a 30-day package at Wager Talk, and that in itself for a normal 30 days would be a value at $199. Normally it's $349 for a 30-day all access to your favorite capper. But as we've been joking about, we've never had a time in sports when as many sports were running at the same time, major sports as we have right now. Football, basketball, hockey, baseball, soccer, throw in horse racing. We've got it all going right now, and you can get it. Pick your favorite capper, $199. You get every single play they release. And guys, we strive to tell you about the 30 days all access. Find a guy you're comfortable with, whether it's Dave, myself, Tony, you, Matt. It's better to have all of the plays than to do the old, okay, this guy's got a big play. Let's jump here. Let's jump there. Because a lot of times it seems like you get to the train station right after the train pulled out of the station. This way you don't miss the winning streaks. You're there for both the good and the bad. And if you like the capper and you feel confident in the capper you choose, there's going to be more winning streaks than losing streaks.
And certainly we've talked about on this show and the other shows with football this year, especially college football, people are going to be releasing plays on Saturday because of the COVID stuff. We saw last week with a bunch of guys on Austin Peay on Saturday. We found out they were not there. If you have somebody's all access package, you'll get that play the moment it comes out in your inbox.
Yeah, and Matt, you love the small colleges. How happy were you to look up and see college football and see the smaller conferences there? I mean, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, certainly. I wish the Austin Peay game went a little bit better, but of course you've got, South Alabama and Southern Miss. That screams FBS football tonight. Tony, how are you doing over there?
Fine, thanks, Matt. I have one MLB play up right now. I'm going to add one. I just didn't quite have time to get it done before we went live here. So, and last night I got a little fortunate. I had 3 MLB plays and I won 2. One of them was a no play, ended up being a no play because my pitcher didn't start. He actually was second in line in the opener. So after 6 runs in the first couple innings, I felt pretty good about unders, even though it was an 11 in Boston last night, which is obviously unusual for anything other than Coors Field.
Yeah, I needed one more run, hit or error in that game last night, and unfortunately it never came. I went 2-2, 8-4 in props so far. Thank you, Marco, for allowing us to do props, because that is a part of gambling now, and you're the man who made that decision, I'm sure.
I didn't disagree with it, and actually, when the new site comes, we're going to have even more options for everything. We want to try to make the betting experience as we, obviously we're selling picks, but we want it to be just like, you're going into your sports book in, every option that's available. And with, all of the, legalization across the country, we're getting more and more options for the bettors. And that's, a benefit for us, because when you get those little niche areas, Matt, as I said, with the smaller colleges, that's been your forte for, a long time. Everybody knows everything about the mainstream stuff. When you can find the niches that everybody doesn't have all of the knowledge, that's where the bigger edges come into play. And these type of things with the props and such are a benefit for the bettor.
All right, so we got a game coming up in 5 minutes, or maybe somebody holding out. Real quick, let's just go around. Dave, we'll start with you. Any interest in this Rangers-Astros game?
Yeah, this is actually the free play today. I took the Astros -1. A couple of very quick thoughts. Lance Lynn, I'm sure, thought he was going to get traded at the deadline. He was mentioned basically as the top prize out there for a contender. And he didn't get dealt. I don't blame the Rangers. He's on a team-friendly contract, and don't give him away. But for Lance Lynn, I think it's going to be pretty disappointing to go from thinking you're going to be pitching in important games and maybe some playoff games to riding out the rest of the season with a terrible baseball team that's going nowhere. I don't think that's a positive. Rangers can't hit righties at all, and they're facing Zach Greinke today. I made a -1 play on the Astros in this game.
Marco?
Only stat I'll give you, we know how bad Texas is. Well, after a game where they score 1 run or less the last 2 years, how about 2-17? You got to go Houston.
Tony?
Yes, I agree. Actually, like Dave, I used this as a free play, but I stepped out and suggested that despite the fact that Lynn isn't with a new team and with Texas, I like the under 7.5, which is a pretty low number at minimum 8. So I said Greinke. I basically said Greinke versus Lynn isn't really fair, well, despite the fact that Lynn's having a great season. I think Greinke's as good as ever. He may not have that 95-mile-an-hour fastball anymore. He might not be able to be in the lineup and hit a home run for you, which he could do. But this is American League Baseball, the 7.5 total, which is, I think, with the juice ball is pretty significant. Under 7.5.
Yeah, and I was interested potentially in the over on Zach Greinke K's today. I think he gets a bunch of them. If he doesn't tell the Rangers what's coming this afternoon, that game coming up momentarily.
Is that going to make a difference?
Probably not. It didn't make it. What was it, the Pirates game where he did it? It didn't make him a difference there.
He's done it twice now.
It's a small card here, folks. So we'll start out with our 3 big games. We'll start out with the Padres and the Angels. Clevenger makes his debut with San Diego. He's got going up against Heaney. We'll start with you, Tony. What's your thoughts on Clevenger and Heaney?
Well, I think I guess I might get some arguments, but I think San Diego's done about as much as anybody before the trade deadline. I think they've taken it seriously, and I think baseball on the West Coast is pretty exciting right now. When you have, I'm not saying that the Padres are the Dodgers equal or the uber talented Dodgers, but they made some improvements that if you're a San Diego Padres fan, you should be excited about. Clevenger, I like a bunch, and we've talked about it in the show. I call him the master. He obviously disappointed the Cleveland front office and the coaching staffs with him, when he and Plesac decided they were going to take a little road trip. And I don't think it's a fair comparison to compare Clevenger and Heaney, and I don't think it's a fair comparison to face or to compare the San Diego lineup to even Mike Trout and company. Is a pretty good position for Clevenger to pitch his first NL game.
Marco, normally we would make more of that. He goes from the AL to the NL, but his first opponent is an AL opponent. Just talk about this matchup.
Yeah, you look at this one, guys, and I'm going to go a little bit contrary here, and I'm going to go with the Angels. And this is one of those ones, guys, that whenever you go back and, read quotes and stuff from games, and I'm going to go to 2 starts back with Heaney here. Although he got roughed up, I think, in the first 2 innings of that game, he settled down and then pitched well the rest of the way till he left the game, 5th or 6th inning. And after that start, he said, I felt for the first time this year really confident and comfortable with my pitches. And what's he do off of that? He comes back in his next outing, has his absolute best outing of the year. And to me, that puts a little bit of the buy sign on with him. I'm going to take a shot with him. I know there's going to be a lot of hoopla with Clevenger going to the Padres, and I like the move, but here's a spot where I think the Angels are live. And if you look at the betting board today, you saw some money show up on the Angels in this game. I'm on the Angels.
Dave, what did you price this game?
I priced it higher, but that's supposed to be the case. But that does it's situationally. I agree more with Marco. There's a few things I'll talk about here. First, let's talk about Clevenger. This is a very high-profile trade, and he's got some pressure on him here. And oftentimes we've seen this where guys move to a much higher profile situation or they're involved in a big trade, and they maybe try and do a little too much at the outset with their new team. So Clevenger will have to reel himself in as far as that goes. Should be pointed out, and it's only 4 starts. He's had a lot of problems first time through the lineup this year. A 387 batting average, a 1.393 OPS with 5 homers. So he's struggled at the outset in some games. On the Angels side, you've got Heaney off a very good start. Now the downside is it was against Seattle, and the Mariners against lefties are atrocious. But he has been good first time through the lineup. 175 batting average and a very impressive 535 OPS. The downside, though, for the Angels is twofold. Number one, I'll be really surprised, and in fact, I'd be disappointed if Justin Upton's in the lineup tonight. They ought to just DFA this guy. I know he sucks, okay? He's hitting 143, and he flat out dogged it on a fly ball in an important situation last night. He dogged it. And I'm surprised Madden didn't yank him off the field. I know managers don't do that anymore because, you don't want to piss off the players, but it was a disgrace. It was a 6-3 ball game. Fly ball at left field. And I don't know if he makes the catch with a full effort, but you got to make a full effort. He didn't. He just let the ball drop, picked it up, 2-run score, and then the game got completely out of hand. You don't need a guy like that on your team. And he's basically useless at this point. He hits worse than his brother did, and he can't play defense. Just dump the guy. Okay, I understand they're stuck with Pujols' contract, but at least Albert Pujols goes out there and gives you an honest effort. It's just, as I tweeted last night, Father Time has overwhelmed him. Yeah. But Albert will never show a lack of effort that I saw out of Justin Upton last night. To me, there is nothing more disgraceful than a professional athlete who dogs it. And it's too bad there weren't fans there because they're going to boot him off the field, but cardboard fans don't boo. So anyway, enough with the rant on Justin Upton. The Angels bullpen is just shockingly bad. So I don't think you can play them full game. If you like the Angels here, I think the move is first 5.
The Angels are really good against sliders. They rank 8th best in Major League Baseball, and that's one of the arsenal pitches for Clevenger. Just something to look at here as well. Game number 2 is the White Sox against the Royals, and ding, 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 White Sox against the lefty. White Sox against the lefty. I mean, this is just they're 11-0 straight up against lefties, 5-1 against the Royals. Back to you, Dave.
Well, I'm not going against those numbers. I'm not a big fan of Dylan Cease, but he's pitching for the right side tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if Duffy is decent one time through the lineup, but they'll eventually get to him. And I'm not even going to try and go against an 11-0. And it's not a fluky 11-0. I mean, they have beaten the crap out of left-handers. Some ridiculous offensive numbers. So, and they're coming off. They lose the last 2 in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So they're not going to go in there, as Marco would say, they're not going to go in there fat and sassy. They're off 2 losses. And so situationally, it's not even a good spot to take a gamble against them.
Yeah, and the Royals offense has disappeared a little bit as of late. Marco, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, of course, I'm not stepping in front of 11-0 either, and they're averaging 6.7 runs per game in those 11 games. My only concern, if you want to back the White Sox here, is Dylan Cease. The last 3 starts, he has had some serious control problems. Now, the ERA is not bad, but when you're sporting a 13-12 strikeout to walk ratio, that's a mighty big concern for me. So I might put a little insurance policy play in here and get a little nibble of the over as well, because I think he's going to give up some runs. And I'm not a fan of Duffy for sure. And I think the White Sox get to him, obviously 6.7 runs per game against lefties. If somehow the White Sox lose this game, I don't think it's going to be in a pitcher's duel 2-1. I think they would lose it in a shootout. And I'll take the insurance policy, take the White Sox, and maybe a half a unit on the over.
A couple of quick notes on Cease, by the way. His xFIP is almost double his ERA.
Yep.
And first time through the batting order, he's given up 6 homers.
And 6 of his 8 homers allowed have been to left-handed batters. But Tony, when you look at that matchup, he walked 6 guys last time out against the Royals, but still 1 hit, 1 earned run in 4 1/3 innings.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to get out in front of this 11-0 run only so I can sidestep and grab onto the bus as it goes by. I will do that for certain, and it will be 12-0. I think it'll be 12-0 tonight, and everything that Marco and Dave have said have been correct. Cease is listen, he has some holes in his pitching arsenal. However, it's the Royals, and he's been fairly lucky. He's got a high strand rate. He's got a high or a low B balls hit in play per average. But Duffy he should be, like Dave said, he should be good the first time through the order. That's pretty much his MO. And then there's been a lot of issues since the World Series, since 15, when Duffy and the Royals were 16 were pretty good ball players. Duffy struggled with injuries and movement of his fastball and arsenal inside the strike zone. He's been hit pretty hard. His percentage of hard hits is way too high.
I always thought, and look, I do think outside the box sometimes, and it doesn't matter now. But I thought that they should have moved Duffy to the bullpen and made him their high leverage closer. Maybe guy's still got good stuff, but he just can't maintain it for a real long time. And to me, given his injury issues, you don't want him throwing 90 pitches anyway. Well, he doesn't get hurt again. If I were this is the way I think. If I had been a team looking for a reliever at the deadline, I might have contacted the Royals and seen if I could have gotten Duffy for a song and put him into a role like that.
I put up a couple props for this game on sportsmemo.com. I came really close. If Cease's problem was more hits related, I would have probably played the runs, hits, and errors over. Because as I said, I think the White Sox are going to do a lot here, but walks don't help in that situation. And plus, it's actually, one book had plus 130 on the over for the runs, hits, and errors. I mean, to me, that's some value, but I need more hits, don't you think? Dave?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I've got enough to do, and I'm never going to get into the props. I don't have time for it. To me, it's part of my philosophy is I am all in on the sports I do. So I don't do the NBA because I never watch the sport. I focus on the NHL. College football, same thing. I take enough time trying to pick winners in baseball to get into the other stuff. I think I'd be taking away from what I do well and might end up doing everything shitty, and I don't want to do that.
Last game of our big three here. We'll do Diamondbacks and Dodgers. We'll start with you, Marco. Dodgers a massive favorite. Is this more just a Dodgers run line or even 2.5 in this situation?
Yeah, you got to look at the run line here. And even at the run line, I think the price is like minus 140, minus 145. So you're laying a hefty number if you want to go with that run line. But how else are you going to go in this game? Arizona has just been god-awful. Not only are they not winning, they're not scoring any runs. They're 1-12 in their last 13 games. In 9 of those games, they've scored 2 runs or less. That's something you want to see if you're going to be laying a run line because, if they're not putting any runs up on the board, it's going to make it a lot easier to cover minus 1.5. You look at Luke Weaver. He's got an ERA of 8.23. He's got a whip of 1.75. You put that many base runners on per inning against a lineup like the Dodgers, it's going to be sad news. In Arizona against lefties, just 2-8 on the season, and they're only averaging 2.9 runs per game, which leads into what they've been doing over the last 13 games. So, yes, if you're doing there's anything with this games, it's Dodgers, maybe money line parlay. But again, we always say the math is still the math. or, go with the run line, or just don't use the game at all. But I cannot make any case in any scenario to look at Arizona tonight.
Tony, are you crazy enough to make any case for Arizona?
Well, I'm crazy enough, I think, in a lot of things in life, but not this one. No, I'm not. I have a friend of mine who does some advanced metrics for a company, and I asked him point blank, I'm really interested. Listen, I always thought the Cardinals traded away their best pitcher at the time when they traded Weaver for Goldie, et cetera, et cetera. And I asked him, and I said, can you give me your analysis? He said, Weaver's stuff is good. He said, so far this year, though, everything he's throwing is not where he wants to throw it. His command's
right down the middle,
and he's making mistakes. Dave said in the middle of the plate. Still good stuff, but you can't throw it over the middle of the plate. No matter how hard you throw it in Major League Baseball, they're gonna find it and they're gonna hit it. So I stay away.
He's the difference. If you want to know the difference between control and command,
yeah,
he's the poster boy for it, because his control's okay, but his command sucks. And the idea is to throw balls that look like strikes and strikes that look like balls. If you throw strikes that look like strikes, they're going to hit it. Yeah. And that's what's happened to him. I think he's fragile mentally at this point too. The other thing on the Diamondbacks is, this is a team that is dead from the neck up. Look at last night, they get the one run. Gallen pitches brilliantly again. And then of course, Ginkel comes in and looks like he's got a decent slider. So, of course, what do you throw next pitch after the slider? Fastball right down the middle, and Mookie Betts hits it out of the park, and you're in extra innings. And then Jansen gives him a run. You get the runner at second to start off. He walks two guys and hits another one. That's it. That they don't get anything out of that situation, and obviously the Dodgers beat him. So you can't call it a demoralizing loss, because there are no demoralizing losses at this point for the Diamondbacks, but it's just piling on for a team that is having nothing go right. They can't hit. The defense is getting shaky. Peralta was a Gold Glove winner last year. He can't catch a fly ball this year. He broke the wrong way on a shot last night and ended up going over his head. Everything is going wrong for this team right now. And the Dodgers just keep covering runs lines. They didn't last night. I wouldn't count on that happening 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Even when the Diamondbacks do something good in late innings, their bullpen blew it last night too. They had a chance to win that game.
Oh, did you see if you missed the highlight of the low light, there's a bunt, runner on second to start the bottom of the extra inning for the Dodgers. So they decide to bunt, which isn't a bad move when you're down a run, because you've got the much better team. You just want to get to another inning at worst. And Guerra is the pitcher for the Diamondbacks. He falls down and tries to make a throw from his knees, and it was about maybe a 40-foot throw. It went about 20 feet and then bounced away. So basically at that point, it's like, okay, this is over. Run scores. Now they got the other runner at second and the next batter. That's it. They are a train wreck. I think they're the worst. I do think they're the worst team in baseball now, with the trades they made at the deadline and the fact they sucked anyway. I think there's a good argument to be made that they are the worst team in baseball. And it'll be interesting to see if they're priced that way when they leave Los Angeles and go to play somebody less than the Dodgers. Because if the prices aren't too bad on the Diamondbacks, you want to be firing against them.
Now we'll say Dave's really been high on Gallen from the
That's
first
the best
show.
call I'll make all season. I said the very first show that we did, I said he's my breakout pitcher.
He was good last
for this
night.
year. That kid can pitch.
He was good. He was good last night. Yeah.
Dave, I just throw a question to you as we get to, down towards the finish line of this season with the unprecedented year that we've had, obviously, with the shortened season, no fans in the stands, teams that are out of the race, like in Arizona. Do you think that it's going to be more of just a complete throw in the towel? Because, we would find spots to play spoiler, but how do you really get up to play spoiler when there's no fans there, cheering you on?
Depends on the team. I think some of the younger teams, I don't think the Marlins, let's say if the Marlins hit a skid and fall out of playoff contention, I don't think they're going to just mail it in, because they get a lot of young players in the team, and there's some excitement there. But for a team like the Diamondbacks, who had high expectations coming into the season and have failed miserably, I don't think they give a shit about playing spoiler. I think they just want to finish. And, the Red Sox were the team I pointed to right out of the gate as a team that was going to have very little interest in this year, and that's turned out to be accurate.
All right, so we got 3 games left. So let's go to quick hits, but they don't have to be as quick. Coming up in about an hour and a half or so, Nats and Phillies. Phillies going for the sweep here. Anibal Sanchez against Zach Eflin, whose curveball has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
37 strikeouts and 8 walks over 26 and a third innings. And Anibal Sanchez, who has not done a lot right in this one, but you've got a team trying not to get swept. Dave, what's your thoughts on Nats and Phillies?
Well, but here's the problem. They're trying not to get swept, but they haven't even scored a run. Okay, they've been shut out back-to-back, and now Eflin's been hot. And Sanchez has been horrible. And look at these numbers. First time through the order, 429 batting average, 1.40 OPS, and 8 homers. So there's a good chance they're going to be behind again. It's just a little too pricey for me. Eflin's pitched well, but I just can't back him at this number. But boy, I don't want any part of the Nationals because they're not swinging the bats at all right now, and Phillies are feeling good about themselves. By the way, that kid at third, the rookie Bohm,
yeah,
that kid's a player. That kid's a player, man.
I gave the buy sign on the Phillies over the weekend, and I'm going to still keep it. I think the bullpen will be good enough, and the lineup is top 3 or 4 in the league. What are you thinking, Marco?
Yeah, it's Philadelphia in this one. And Zach Eflin, his last outing was an absolute gem. And it was not against the slouch. The Atlanta Braves are playing good baseball, and they got a good hitting lineup. And he silenced them. And just the question I asked Dave, a minute ago, here's the Nationals. This is a team, World Series last year, and they're going to be out of the race. I mean, it's a horrible team. They're not playing well. They're not hitting the baseball. And you can't ignore 4 and 20 against right-handers. You can't ignore that. It's all Philadelphia here. They're playing well. They're on a streak, and we've said it numerous times. To me, there's no sport more so than baseball where streaks come into play. Whether it's a losing streak or a winning streak, you want to ride them. And this one, these are 2 trains heading in totally the opposite direction right now.
Tony, do we have the buy sign for Phillies full games yet, or do we still look at first 5 innings with them?
Well, and I will have to say that you guys spend a lot of time, and you've been really good with your F5s. I don't like Dave said. I do enough that while I should probably spend more time on that, I don't. I look at games in full game, and I would say Phillies a go. I mean, Eflin, look, why this guy didn't throw his curveball more? This curveball he's got now. Whatever he did this offseason to reintroduce that into his arsenal has been amazing. I mean, he's getting 40% swing and misses on this. Crazy stuff. But whatever he did, he should keep doing it. So Phillies, if he pitches that way and the Phillies bullpen does anything for him, I think they should be okay.
No Andrew McCutchen in the lineup for the Phillies, and just looking at the Nats lineup, I mean, 6 through 9 is just, not a lot of talent when you look at that lineup. That's coming up at 4:05 Eastern time. All right, Yankees and the Mets, Happ and Giselman. We'll start out with you, Tony.
Mets jersey on today. Everyone probably knew or heard Tom Seaver passed. Listen, Tom didn't. I don't think he ever got the credit. You don't hear a lot about Tom, but he was.
Well, yeah, he got the credit. He went into the Hall of Fame until Jeter got the 100%, or Rivera, I guess it was, whoever.
True.
He had the highest percentage of any first ballot guy in the history of baseball. So yeah, he got the credit.
Okay.
And he deserved it too. He's one of the best pitchers of all time.
Yeah. That was a nice team, 69 with the Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver. Pretty good little team. I don't know why they ever called them a miracle Mets, but they did.
Well, had you seen him for the 8 years before that?
That's 8 years.
I saw Seaver. We went down. My dad, my Uncle Bob, and myself. My Uncle Bob lived in Paramus, and Paramus, New Jersey. We went down there quite often for weekends. We had family in New York, and caught a game. I mean, I barely knew who he was at the time. We'd heard some things about him, but we caught a game at Shea Stadium with Seaver pitching. I saw him pitch one other time live, but I can't place where it was. But I do remember seeing him pitch at Shea, and he was pretty good.
And as good as DeGrom is, he's still has got a long ways to go before he matches Tom Seaver. And it's just a nice story. Tom was a nice story, and that's why I'm wearing the Mets jersey. And as far as the game goes, that's what I have for this game. I have nothing else to add to that.
I wonder, though, if the Mets might – I mean, if you're looking for motivation –
yeah, I agree.
The Mets have a lot of it here. Yeah. Day after Seaver dies. Yeah. And I do think there's some revenge on their minds after the disastrous finish of the games last weekend against the Yankees. I think you can make a case for the Mets here. It's not like the Yankees are playing good ball. J. Happ was better last time out, and maybe he's finding his form, but he's shorthanded, and they're out of a heated series with Tampa Bay. I don't think this is a bad spot, and I haven't played it yet, but I'm thinking about playing the Mets here.
Do you really think that there's motivation for these kids who half of them may not know who Tom Seaver is?
Oh, I think they know who Tom Seaver is.
I hope
they're baseball players.
So you think Jake Marisnick, Robinson Chirinos, I mean, some of these guys, Dominic Smith, do you think they all know who Tom Seaver is and want to play extra for him?
I think it is a big deal, and that'll be expressed to them.
Yeah.
Marco, what do you think?
And look, I mean, they do play their games in a ballpark where there's Seaver memorabilia all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's the part I was going to go to. The history and the tradition, yes. And you couldn't draw up a better opponent if you want to go to the emotional well than to have the Yankees be the opponent tonight. And I'm going to give you one stat on the Yankees. Now, we know why they're coming up a slight dog tonight because of all the injuries that they have.
Excuse me, didn't mean to interrupt. The Astros have a 4 spot in the first inning. Good.
There you go. That's wow, Lance Lynn. Talk about calling that one right, Dave.
Lance Lynn might be flat here, so we'll see. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. I got excited.
No, Dave, how many years have we done radio together and games being on? I'm used to you doing that when we're doing radio. It's always funny whenever there's a game on above the producer in the studio. But you look at this one, the Yankees are a rare underdog. Granted, they're depleted with the injuries, and that's why Dave pointed out they're coming off a big series against Tampa, which is obviously their rival for this year in the division because Boston's a complete no-show. But if you go back the last 3 seasons, and there's 29 times that the Yankees were installed as a road underdog. They're just 6-23 in those games.
Wow.
Okay, so this is a game that's on the table for me. As I said, I didn't put anything out yet today. This is the leading candidate for me to make a play today is the Mets. And then I'm looking to see if I can grow a big enough set to take the Angels. That's the other game that I'm looking at.
I got bad news for you. Growing. Okay, you got whatever you got at this point, bud.
Well, they're going one direction, Dave. They're going the wrong direction.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't want to get into anatomy either. So, okay.
if they are like going, you probably need a doctor. I would say probably.
By the way, Gary Sanchez not in the lineup. He is resting, so that's another hitter that's out of
Wait, is that a negative?
Oh, I'm just saying it's just passing it if they're long.
He's been horrible, and he's a miserable catcher as well. Gary Sanchez is kind of a bust.
He is a bust.
He is. Let's call it straight. I mean, there are a lot of great young players on this Yankees team. Gary Sanchez has turned into a guy who's not going to live up to expectations. He's never going to be a good receiver. And you look at some of his batting metrics; they're really not very good.
We put a lot of emphasis. We put a lot of expectations, and we have on Sanchez, but. Dave's right, and if he doesn't even walk the same way he used to walk, as a young rookie coming, he didn't have that swagger.
Well, they probably should have moved him out from behind the plate.
Yeah,
I've never thought I don't know. I never looked at him and said, "Boy, this guy's going to be a good catcher down the road." He might have been better off. I don't know, moving to first base, make him a DH, whatever. But he's hurt all the time now, and his skills look like he's not an old guy, and yet his skills seem to be diminishing already.
Well, what's in the water in New York, this Yankees team?
You don't want to know.
Wow.
Wow. You don't want to know what's in that water. Final game is the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Taijuan Walker, Martin Perez in this one. Tony, we'll go to you first.
We talked about Martin Perez last time, and I looked at this. I liked Deshaun Walker, but I liked him as a playing, that dog role, and no one likes Seattle, and let's just bet against him every game, and he has talent. He's got good stuff. He needs to be more consistent, and I'm not certain that this is a bad spot for him with a young Blue Jays team. Just not this game in particular, despite the fact it's the Red Sox. Despite the fact the Red Sox haven't been very good, they still show signs of times of being very capable at the plate.
Marco, there are some unsustainable numbers, it feels like, for Walker. A 225 batting average on balls in play. His xFIP is 4.91. Could regression come starting tonight?
You would think that with Walker, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here and go to Dave. What he pointed out with Lance Lynn not getting traded when you were pitching for a team that was out of it and you thought you were going to go somewhere. Wouldn't it be just the opposite, in a new lease on life for Walker? Granted, Toronto's not, a team that anybody expects, to win, the AL, but they're at least still in contention, playoffs and do something. To get out of Seattle has to be kind of like a new lease on life. And, he looked very good in his last outing. Actually, the last 3 outings, I like him here. There's nothing to like about Martin Perez right now. And we've bashed the Red Sox all season, and I'll repeat the numbers. 7-18 against division opponents this year. And as a home underdog the last 2 seasons, Boston's now 5-18. It's Toronto for me or pass, and I'll go ahead and ride Walker here.
Dave, that bobblehead's in the background. I see it. Is it going to be nodding that there's a win tonight or no?
No, I don't know what to. I agree with what Marco said about Walker. I think this could be really exciting for him. Not even so much for this year, but the fact that the Blue Jays have a lot of young talent.
Yeah,
and they look like a team that's going in the right direction, and it maybe could be serious, more serious contenders by next season. And they're respectable now. I mean, there's not much denying the young talent on this team. Ed Walker might fit there. The problem I have is that Walker. The one thing we know about Walker to this point in his career is he's been the model of inconsistency. He'll look really good one start, and it's like you can see why he was such a highly regarded prospect coming through the minors. And then the next start, he looks like someone who's never been in the Major League ballpark before. So I need to see some consistency out of him, and that's why I'm going to stay away from this game. I don't really want the Red Sox. Martin Perez, he actually hasn't been as bad as I thought he'd be for Boston, because I'm not a big Martin Perez guy. He's been reasonably respectable, but I certainly don't want to bet on him or the Red Sox. So it's an easy pass for me. I thought, actually, it looks really easy to bet the Blue Jays at the price, but I'm not going to do it.
Plus, that Blue Jays lineup hasn't exactly been very good. Now, granted, they're coming off the tough Miami series, but Toronto's lineup hasn't exactly been very good. So that's the card for today. Not exactly a ton here. Before we go, we'll do our DFS in just a moment, but wagetalk.com is where you can find Dave, Marco, and Tony. Dave, you said that since there is college football tonight, you could potentially be involved in 3 different sports tonight, right?
I am involved in 3 different sports. Baseball, I've got a game going now, which I'm pleased with the start anyway. There's a long way to go. I've got another baseball best bet. I have a hockey best bet, and I've got a play in the college football game, although quite frankly, the line is, I mean, you got to know who I'm playing just when I say this. The line that I bet it at is long gone. Okay. And that's going to happen a lot with my college football. So that's why you want the package, because every one of my subscribers at Wage Talk got this game on Tuesday, and they got it at a good line. Close CLV, baby. Got to get that CLV in football.
Marco?
I just to piggyback what Dave was saying about the subscriptions, that's another added bonus. Anytime you buy a subscription, everybody can get the same plays, but not everybody goes to the website and decide, most people say, okay, it's Thursday, there's football. Let me go to the website, see who's got a football play, and I'll buy it. When you're a subscription subscriber, the minute Dave puts that into the system, that play, he loads it, there's an email that goes out to all subscribers, and you're getting that line. Now, granted, you don't check your email right away, you might miss a line. You might be a little bit late to the party, but you're still going to be way ahead of 80 to 90% of everybody else playing the game.
I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't play the game at the price it's at now, because it's gone to, what is it, down to 13 now?
13 and a half. Yeah, 13 and a half. Yeah.
I know what
13,
I figured it out now.
I got it. I sent it out at plus 15, which was widely available. I actually got 15 and a half on it.
Yeah.
So you're on the right side of a key number with 2 to 2.5 points of value. I wouldn't buy it now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people who are buying it today. They're not getting, but they're not getting anywhere near the right price on the game.
I like that. How you said you figured it out. I always would laugh at some of our competitor sites when it would be a Monday Night Football game or something, and somebody would advertise their underdog game of the week. Oh, okay. Can't figure that one out.
It's going to be sunny down in Dave's belt. That's all. That's all. That's what it is for tonight.
Now that Marco said that, I'll advertise my underdog game of the week, and then inside in the analysis, I'll say it's the underdog game of the week to bet against. So everybody,
And by the way, I'll help Marco advertise. We don't do the stale lines. So when the lines are moving away, we take the play down.
I put a note in the analysis that if you didn't get it at the right time and it drops below 14, then reduce it to like 2%.
Exactly. It's important not to have stale lines, because you could sell the line if it's not available anywhere, then it does nothing for our clients or our customers. Marco, what can we find on your page? Obviously you said nothing yet, but I'm sure something yet, right?
But I'm gonna promote Saturday, Kentucky Derby. We'll have a Kentucky Derby package up this week. You'll be able to pick up my package for $39. What it'll get you is exactly how I am betting the Kentucky Derby Saturday, and I will put at least one sports play in there, and whatever play I put in there will be my absolute top play of the day, but you're going to probably get multiple plays. And shameless plug, 3 years ago, Kentucky Derby, we invested $390 in the Derby. And that might seem like a lot to people for a horse race, but in the Kentucky Derby, there is so much dead money because everybody wants to play the Derby. It's an inflated pool. We brought back over $9,000 for our clients with that $390 investment. And even though there's a odds-on favorite in this race on Saturday, there are tons of ways to make money in this race with the trifectas, exactas, and I do have a rather long shot that is on my ticket on Saturday. So you want to check that out, $39 on Saturday at Wager Talk.
Tony?
I'm at the same I was. I have one baseball game up right now, and I might add another baseball, but I think I'm out on the NBA tonight.
Interesting. I've got a couple of prop plays in the Royals-White Sox game, about to add a free play as well in Sports Memo. You can find Dave, Marco, and Tony on wagertalk.com. Marco, I always forget, are you somebody who's going to give us a DFS look, maybe a pitcher or a lineup you like today?
For me, it's got to be something that really sticks out, and I don't have anything there that looks that way. It's not my strong forte, Matt, but I don't see anything to take a stab at tonight.
Tony?
Play Michael Brantley today.
Michael, wait, aren't they playing now?
A little late for that.
He had a grand slam. Play him.
Good.
Tony's attempt at humor.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I didn't. Wait a minute.
Dave, wasn't it Brantley?
No, it was Diaz.
Okay.
Diaz.
See, you're going to go to the wrong guy.
Man.
Even when I have information ahead of the time, I'm wrong.
Yeah, you gave us the wrong guy. By the way, I'll say this on DraftKings right now. Taijuan Walker is only $4,800. Just to tell you, JT Realmuto is $5,100. So, if you want to get value on a pitcher, I fit Kershaw and Taijuan Walker in. $4,800 for a guy who's potentially going to win today. Now, the numbers may not be great. He goes 5 and gets a win. That's more value for you at $4,800. That is on DraftKings right now. All right, fellas, Andrew should be back tomorrow, and then we will be back on Saturday at noon. Guys, thanks for everything, and we'll see you tomorrow on First Pitch.
See you later.